अस्सलाम वालेकुम गाइस। आज की इस वीडियो में हम पढ़ेंगे अरेज ऑफ अरेज। इन सी हैश वी कैन हैव अरेज ऑफ अरेज विच वी कॉल जैग्ड अरेज। Jagged arrays are arrays of arrays or arrays in which each row contains an array of its own, and that array can have length different than those in the other row. Declaration and allocation. An array of arrays. The only difference in the declaration of the jagged arrays compared to the regular multi-dimensional array is that we do not have just one pair of brackets. With the jagged arrays, we have a pair brackets per dimension. We allocate them this way. Here is how we declare, allocate, and initialize an array of arrays. A jagged array whose elements are arrays of integer values. Memory allocation. The figure below depicts how the now declared jagged array, my jagged array, is allocated in the memory. As we see, the jagged arrays are an aggregation of references. A jagged array does not directly contain any arrays, but rather references. A jagged array does not directly contain any arrays, but rather has elements pointing to them. The size is unknown, and that is why CLR just keeps references to the internal arrays. After we allocate memory for one array element of the jagged array, then the reference start pointing to the newly created block in the dynamic memory. The variable my jagged array is stored in the execution stack of the program and points to a block in the dynamic memory which contains a sequence of three references to other three blocks in memory. Each of them contains an array of integer number, the elements of the jagged array. Initialization and access to the element. We can access elements of the array which are part of the jagged array by using their index. In next example, we will access the element with index 3 of the array stored at index 0 in my jagged array declared above. The elements of the jagged array can be one-dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays. Here is an example for jagged array of two-dimensional arrays. Pascal's triangle example. In the next example, we will use a jagged array to generate and visualize the Pascal's triangle. As we know from mathematics, the first row of the triangle contains the number 1 and each next number is generated by sum of the two numbers on the row above it. The Pascal's triangle looks like this. To have a Pascal triangle with a given height, for example 12, we allocate a jagged array triangle which contain one element on the 0 row, 2 on first, 3 on second, and so on. First we initialize triangle and is equal to 1, and the rest of the cells we will have a default value, then 0 by allocation. Then we loop through the row, and from row we will get the values for row plus 1. It works with nested for loop through the columns on the current row, and the following Pascal's डेफिनेशन फॉर वैल्यूज इन द ट्राइंगल। अगर गाइस ये हमारी वीडियो आपको अच्छी लगे तो सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर करें और घंटे के निशान को दबाना ना भूलें।